Imagine a world at war. Bombs falling, cities burning, and millions of lives hanging in the balance. Across Europe, Nazi Germany seems unstoppable, armed not just with soldiers and tanks but with an invisible weapon, an unbreakable code, the Enigma machine. Messages encrypted by Enigma-guided U-boat attacks, troop movements, and secret strategies. To crack it seemed impossible, a puzzle with billions upon billions of combinations. And yet, in a quiet English estate known as Bletchley Park, one man sat at his desk with an unshakable belief: the code could be broken. That man was Alan Turing, a mathematician whose genius and determination would help turn the tide of World War II. But Turing's story is not only about mathematics and machines. It is also about a man who dreamed beyond his time, about computers, artificial intelligence, and the power of human imagination, while enduring prejudice, misunderstanding, and tragedy. His life is both a tale of triumph and a sobering reminder of society's capacity for injustice. Alan Turing was born on June 23, 1912, in London, to Julius and Ethel Turing. His father was a civil servant in British India, but Alan's childhood unfolded mostly in England, raised by relatives while his parents lived abroad. From an early age, Turing showed signs of brilliance. At school, he was awkward, often misunderstood, and sometimes ridiculed. Teachers criticized him for being careless in subjects like English and Latin, but when it came to mathematics and science, his mind worked like no other. He had a remarkable ability to see patterns where others saw chaos. At just 16, he read Albert Einstein's papers and not only understood them but questioned some of Einstein's ideas, a glimpse of the bold thinker he was becoming. Turing entered King's College, Cambridge, in 1931. At Cambridge, he flourished. Surrounded by scholars, he found a place where his eccentricity was less of a burden and more of a gift. In 1935, he was elected a Fellow at King's College, an incredible achievement for someone so young. 2 years later, Turing published a groundbreaking paper on computable numbers, in which he introduced the concept of the universal machine. This theoretical device could, in principle, perform any calculation if properly programmed. Today, we know it as the Turing machine, the foundation of modern computer science. At the time, the idea was abstract, almost philosophical. Few realized that this concept would one day lead to the computers, smartphones, and AI systems we rely on daily. Bletchley Park and the Enigma Code. When World War II broke out in 1939, Turing joined the top-secret government code and cipher school at Bletchley Park. His task was monumental: break the Enigma code, which the Germans believed to be unbreakable. Enigma worked like a typewriter that scrambled letters into code using a series of rotating rotors. Every day, the settings change, producing 159 quintillion possible combinations. Even the best minds thought it was impossible to solve. But Turing refused to believe that. Building on earlier work by Polish cryptanalysts, he designed a machine called the Bombay, an electromechanical device that could test Enigma settings at astonishing speed. Day and night, he and his colleagues worked in secrecy, racing against time. By 1941, Turing and his team had cracked the Enigma naval codes. This breakthrough allowed the Allies to anticipate German U-boat movements, saving countless ships and lives in the Battle of the Atlantic. Historians estimate that Turing's work shortened the war by 2 to 4 years and saved as many as 14 million lives. Winston Churchill would later call the codebreakers of Bletchley Park his golden geese, producing victories without the world knowing how. After the war, while most of Britain celebrated victory, Turing's restless mind moved to the future. He turned his attention to computing machines, envisioning devices that could do more than calculate numbers. At the National Physical Laboratory, he proposed the design for the Automatic Computing Engine, ACE, one of the earliest designs for a stored program computer. Later, at the University of Manchester, he worked on the Manchester Mark I, among the world's first true computers. Turing also pondered an even bigger question: could machines think? In 1950, he published his famous paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, introducing the Turing test. His idea was simple yet revolutionary. If a machine could converse with a human without being detected as a machine, then it could be considered intelligent. This was not just mathematics, it was the birth of artificial intelligence, decades before the term was widely used. Today, every conversation with a chatbot, every smart assistant, and every AI innovation owes a debt to Turing's imagination. For all his brilliance, Turing's life was marred by the prejudices of his time. In 1952, he was arrested for gross indecency, the crime of being homosexual in a Britain where such relationships were illegal. Instead of prison, he was given the choice of chemical castration through hormone treatments. The punishment was devastating. His health declined, and he lost his security clearance, preventing him from continuing his classified government work. A man who had helped save millions of lives was now ostracized by the very nation he had defended. On June 7, 1954, Alan Turing was found dead in his home, a half-eaten apple by his bedside. The cause was cyanide poisoning. Whether it was an accident or suicide remains debated, but the tragedy was undeniable. One of the world's greatest minds had been silenced at just 41 years old. For decades, Turing's contributions were shrouded in secrecy. The work at Bletchley Park remained classified long after the war. Only later did the world learn how vital his role had been. In 2009, following a public campaign, British Prime Minister Gordon Brown issued an official apology for Turing's treatment, calling it utterly unfair. In 2013, Queen Elizabeth II granted him a posthumous royal pardon. Today, Turing is celebrated as a father of computer science, artificial intelligence, and cryptography. His face appears on the £50 note, and statues stand in his honor at Cambridge, Manchester, and Bletchley Park. His life has inspired books, plays, and the Academy Award-winning film, The Imitation Game. But perhaps his greatest legacy lies in the everyday devices we now take for granted, the computers, smartphones, and AI systems that stem from his pioneering vision. Alan Turing once asked, "Can machines think?" That question still drives the heart of modern technology. But his story is more than science. It is about courage, imagination, and the resilience to think differently in a world that often punishes difference. His genius helped win a war. His ideas reshaped the future. And his life, though cut short, continues to inspire generations to fight for truth, equality, and the power of human curiosity. Alan Turing proved that even one mind, daring to imagine the impossible, can change the world. Thanks everyone for watching. Please consider subscribing and see you soon.